Okay, the next definition is contra-swing, and contra-swing is not a term that I use hardly ever at all. I'm aware of what it is, and I've sold contra-swing openings maybe a couple of times in my career, but they're unusual, and I do believe that they were probably far more common several decades ago, and I'll explain why I believe that. So let's talk about what it is. It's a unusual term for an opening that's not completely impossible to see out in the wild, and it's a derivative, I suppose, of a typical frame that acts just like it, or an opening that acts like it. So let's switch to the screen view and let's take a closer look at what this is. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Okay, contra-swing frame, a frame with two doors swinging in opposite direction, incorporating a fixed or removable, and this is the really important part, hollow metal mullion between the doors. That's a hollow metal mullion. That can be removable. I've made them both removable and fixed. If they're fixed, that just means it's welded in place, and there's a mullion anchor that holds that down to the floor when you get the frame installed. It can be removable. You can weld tabs, drill and tap. You can have screws. I suppose we can concoct a cylinder removable style of hollow metal mullion, but generally when it's a removable hollow metal mullion, there's just screws that hold it in place. Now, what's really important to know is there are two different kinds of mullions, and that's the important distinction. This is a mullion. This is one type of mullion. This is a typical removable mullion. You know, Von Duprin. If you do commercial hardware, you're probably going to be really familiar with their 9954, maybe? Yeah, 9954. Very typical mullion. Really common, ubiquitous, all the time. Now, what's important to know about this mullion, those are just the mounting brackets, but what's important to know about the mullion is that there are two types. There are hardware mullions, which is what we're looking at here. I'm going to pull up their catalog, Control F 9954, in the hopes that we're going to find a better image of what a mullion looks like. Here we go. That's a hardware mullion. Call it a removable mullion. These hardware mullions are always removable. They can be just removable with screws or bolts, or a key removable mullion where in order to remove it off the door, you need to have a key. But when you have a hollow metal mullion, it's a very important distinction, because a hardware removable mullion is always going to be a pair of doors. The important thing I'm trying to say is you would never think of this as two single doors. Now, that's important as a pair of doors, but also as a pair of double egress doors. I'm just looking for a nicer picture of it. You would never think of a pair of double egress doors as two single doors, meaning it's a double egress pair, always. Now, when you study the image of the contra-swing frame compared to a double egress image here, this image and this image, they do look the same, except the entire difference is when there's a hollow metal mullion versus a hardware mullion, you always think of them as two single doors. So double egress and contra frame are in essence the same type of swing. One goes this way, one goes this way. But when you add a hollow metal mullion, it's no longer a pair of doors, it's now two single doors. You would treat this as a, well, if this arrow infers the key or the secured side, you would treat this as a right-hand reverse. And this would be a separate right-hand reverse door. Whereas over here, you have left-hand swing when it comes to a double egress. So the beleaguered project that I'm doing here is when there's a hollow metal mullion, a pair of doors that otherwise look like double egress, because double egress are always thought of as a pair of doors and not two single doors, they become two single doors. That's the important part. So a contra-swing frame is defined as having a hollow metal mullion, and when you have a hollow metal mullion arranged in a contra-swing situation, you have two single doors. It doesn't matter if this is a right-hand reverse and this one's a left-hand reverse. If it was hinged here, you think of it as two single doors and not a pair of them. Your hardware, everything is detailed as a single door. The fact that they share a mullion, a hollow metal mullion, is to a certain extent unimportant, is just simply the bottom line. So what makes a contra-swing is the fact that there is a hollow metal mullion. If you have a removable mullion that is swung like this, I don't see why you would. There are no hardware mullions on double egress that I've ever seen. You have a pair of doors, you can have a hollow metal mullion like this. It becomes two single doors, but it's not a contra-swing. When you have a contra-swing and there is a removable mullion, when you have two doors that swing like this and there is no mullion, it's not contra-swing, it is double egress. When you have a pair of doors that swing like double egress, but there is a fixed or removable hollow metal mullion, it's called contra-swing. Now, there are a definition online from a Legion contra-swing frame. It's a double egress with a mullion, opposite swing frame. What that should say is a hollow metal mullion, is what that ought to say to be more typical, or to be more accurate. And that's it. That's all that I have on contra-swing. The next definition is core. Okay, let's talk about core next. Thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.